On the surface, it feels cold and brutal, but beneath all that, it's disturbingly alive, is a quote from an article by Julie Munsey from Wired describing in perfect accuracy what it feels like to play Remedy's newest title, Control. Control is a fantastic game. Distilling down the essence of a fantastic game is hard to do, but I've thought long and hard about Control, and I've decided that there are 3 big reasons why Control is such a resounding success to me. The art direction and setting are a big contender when it comes to what makes this game so memorable. Secondarily, the way Remedy chooses to world build the universe of Control is rather clever when compared to titles of a similar caliber. Finally, the game mechanics, the crutch of every game, are vital to Control's outstanding gameplay. I don't think Control is flawless, no work of art ever truly is, but at the very least, Control is fun. The majority of Control takes place in the Federal Bureau of Control, a secret government agency dedicated to odd events and unexplained mysteries. The building which houses the Bureau is an extra-dimensional, ever-shifting space called the Oldest House. The Oldest House is a concrete monolith of a building sitting smack dab in the middle of New York. Architecturally, it's brutalist in design. Cold, cynical, towering stone. And for a reality-bending building, the Oldest House is also utterly mundane, writes Ewan Wilson for Gamasutra. Upon entering the building, you're met with not some intra-dimensional landscape, but your typical mid-century office. This only serves to strengthen the surreal reality Control exists in. This ever-changing series of rooms in an unimaginable plane of existence is bland. It's normal. But it's also not just a building. The Oldest House has a mind of its own. The developers at Remedy personified this endless brutalist building and twisted it into something that if you linger too long on the idea of, is scary. Nothing about the environment should be attractive, and certainly not beautiful, but even the smallest details seem to hum with secret purpose and life, says Dave Tack in an article for Polygon. And he's right. It is beautifully haunting and very much alive. People like to say world building can be done by either showing the player how the world works or telling them flat out. Control has plenty of both, except they never really tell. Collectibles are a normal way to provide a player context and lore, but Remedy makes the choice to give answers that are never concrete. Jacob Geller explains it best in his video essay titled Control, Anatomy, and the Legacy of the Haunted House.
There is a staggering level of documentation in Control. Every phenomena recorded, every quirk of time and space written down. But paradoxically, this volume of data just shows how little the Bureau actually knows.
And this distinct lack of answers makes the storytelling very clever. The Bureau is grasping at straws, which means so are we. We get vague impressions from redacted documents and half-baked theories from informational videos and voice recordings. In that Polygon article, it said, Remedy knows how to create an elaborate, internally consistent world, and its ability to do so with a light dusting of sparse details mixed with the courage to withhold answers for an uncomfortably long time is one of its best tricks. The mystery runs deep in Control, and it means you often find yourself pulled into the universe and not leaving until you find your answers, or until you resign yourself to being satisfied with what little you're given. Every game hinges on its game mechanics, and Control is no different. It combines common aspects of gameplay with new ideas and implementation. Your main weapon in Control is a service weapon, which is a self-reloading gun that can be anything from a pistol to a shotgun to a machine gun, so on, depending on what you need it to be. You can cause a lot of damage with a gun that reloads itself when you stop firing. You can cause even more damage in the lull when you use your telekinesis to launch objects, or mind control weakened enemies. You have so many tools and paranatural abilities at your disposal, you become very effective at plowing through enemies. But there's another aspect to Control's gameplay, and that's its interactive environments. Dave Tash writes, "The number of physical objects that fly through the air during these battles, and the way in which they interact with each other is one of Control's most impressive technical achievements. When you launch a fire extinguisher, it bursts on impact into a fine mist. Papers in the offices scatter when you pick up desks. You can rip the concrete out of floors and walls to kill enemies. You can manipulate the world around you in every environment you set into. You make mayhem in every fight, and when you lose yourself in its bombastic chaos, you find some of the most fun you can have within the game." Distilling exactly why Control was such a hit upon its release in 2019 isn't an exact science. Different people will value different aspects of the game, and certain people aren't going to love the game the way so many others do. Defining a good game is hard because it's entirely subjective. The success is left up entirely to the player and the community. But occasionally it's fairly easy to see why a game does well, and that's the case for Control. With such a unique setting, the ability to tell a strong story, and incredibly fun mechanics, you can start to see why it resonates with so many players.